What if I told you that Max Verstappen's loyalty to Red Bull might have just cost Mercedes their biggest opportunity in years? That Toto Wolff had 3 specific conversations with the 4-time world champion that could have completely reshaped the 2026 grid? And that the real reason Verstappen stayed at Red Bull had nothing to do with his contract, but everything to do with a principle that might leave him stuck with a losing team? According to recent reports from motorsport.com following the Dutch Grand Prix, the behind-the-scenes drama between Mercedes and Max Verstappen runs deeper than anyone realized. Toto Wolff has finally opened up about those mysterious talks, and what he's revealed changes everything we thought we knew about driver loyalty in Formula One. The story starts back in 2014, when Toto Wolff first tried to bring Verstappen to Mercedes. As reported by motorsport.com, Wolff coveted the young Dutch talent but lost out to Helmut Marko's offer of immediate F1 graduation from F3. That single decision created a butterfly effect that would define the next decade of Formula One. But here's where it gets interesting. When cracks started appearing in Red Bull's armor last year, those hairline fractures grew into what sources describe as structural fractures. This wasn't just about a few bad races. This was about fundamental problems within the team that made Verstappen's position vulnerable for the first time in his career. Wolff saw his opening. With Lewis Hamilton moving to Ferrari, Mercedes suddenly had the perfect storm. A seat opening up, Red Bull showing weakness, and the best driver of his generation potentially available. The timing couldn't have been more perfect? According to motorsport.com's exclusive reporting, Wolff wasn't just casually interested, he was actively exploring whether uniting with Verstappen was finally possible after all these years. At first glance, you'd think this was simple contract negotiation. Verstappen had options, Mercedes had an opening, and surely the best driver would go to whoever offered the most money or the best car, right? But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. According to Toto Wolff's own words reported by motorsport.com, Verstappen's decision to commit to Red Bull for 2026 was more down to loyalty than any contractual clauses. Think about that for a moment. We're talking about a sport where drivers regularly jump ship for better opportunities, where loyalty often takes a back seat to championship ambitions. Yet, here's Verstappen, potentially walking away from Mercedes, the team that's won 8 consecutive Constructors' Championships. Wolff revealed something crucial in his interview. What he said is he owes them, and it's not the first moment you can walk away when the team doesn't perform. This wasn't about money, performance clauses, or exit fees. This was about something far more complex. But here's what makes this story truly fascinating. And this is the part that should have every F1 fan paying attention. According to Wolff's own admission to motorsport.com, it never came to the situation where it was like, okay, we are going to do this. Neither on Max's side, nor on my side. This reveals something crucial about how these negotiations actually work. It wasn't a straightforward Mercedes wants Verstappen scenario. Instead, as Wolff explained, it was more about exploring whether it made sense from the Mercedes perspective and from the Verstappen perspective. The real revelation comes in what Wolff told the media about his obligation as team principal. He said, "It is my obligation as a team principal here to explore what a 4-time world champion is going to do in the future and what his situation is." This wasn't just about wanting Verstappen. This was about due diligence. And here's the kicker. Wolff was completely transparent with George Russell about these discussions. As reported by motorsport.com, Wolff told Russell directly about exploring Verstappen's situation, acknowledging that every team needs to go for the best driver, and that any driver out there will say that Max, as it stands, is probably the best. Now, here's where this gets really interesting for the future of Formula One. Wolff made a telling comment about timing that suggests this story is far from over. When asked if missing out on Verstappen felt like a lost opportunity, he said, "Could that mean our paths will never cross because the timings are wrong? Well, that can happen. Yeah, but that could be a 50% chance. The other 50% is that we are racing together at a certain stage in our careers, if it is right for both sides." The timing he's referring to could be 2027, and this is crucial. By then, everyone will know who made the best start to the radical 2026 rules shakeup. As one reporter suggested to Wolff, staying put for 2026 could end up being profitable for Mercedes, because whoever has the best chassis and power unit combination will have the pick of drivers for 2027. Wolff's response was telling. According to motorsport.com, he joked about only needing to pay 10% if Mercedes dominates in 2026, adding, "I think that for all of the best drivers, money is not the essential objective. The essential objective is to have a car and a team that can make you win world championships." This suggests Mercedes is playing a longer game than we realized. They're betting that by 2027, they'll be in such a dominant position that Verstappen will come to them, rather than them having to chase him. But this raises some massive questions that could define the next few years of Formula One. First, what happens if Red Bull continues to struggle in 2026? Verstappen has already indicated he won't stay in F1 for very long, so every year matters. Second, how will this affect George Russell and Andrea Kimi Antonelli? Wolff admits that Russell had to field a barrage of questions every week about Verstappen during this whole saga. That can't have been easy for team dynamics. And here's the biggest question of all. Was Verstappen's loyalty actually a mistake? If Red Bull continues to slide backward while Mercedes surges forward with the 2026 regulations, will that sense of loyalty start to feel like an anchor around his championship ambitions? Wolff seems confident about his personal relationship with Verstappen, saying, "We get on personally so well, and that when you're on the same wavelength, it just feels easy." That relationship could be crucial if and when Verstappen decides his loyalty has been repaid. The data suggests we're looking at a fascinating chess match between team principles, where loyalty, timing, and performance will determine who ends up with the sport's biggest prize. And based on everything Toto Wolff has revealed, this story is far from over. What do you think? Was Verstappen's loyalty admirable or misguided? And could Mercedes' patience pay off in 2027? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more F1 Insider analysis.